Okay, happy Halloween! I'm not wearing the wings, but I'm a one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. Just because everybody wants to call me a unicorn, but I can't do it. I can't do the class in wings. I tried, it's not working. Yeah. So we're gonna do just everything today, I guess. I did mention to folks who are already. So if you're watching the recording later, I'm not gonna use yoga blocks because I keep holding myself back from doing things when I think my body's not happy about it. So, but if you wanted to have yoga blocks and put them underneath your hands, if we do any sort of forward foldy stuff, that could be helpful if you find such things helpful. Yeah, so it's Halloween. I love Halloween. I get so excited because I love to celebrate things. Like any opportunity, like I will, if you want, I will show up at your birthday and throw you a party if nobody's going to throw you a party on your birthday. I just, any opportunity to find joy, I decided a long time ago I was going to grab onto and not let go. Like life is really good if you insist upon making it so any opportunity I have to find a little bit of joy and a little bit of silliness, I'm going to go there. Highly recommend it. Have a really good time. I had a member of the gym that I teach at on Sunday mornings. We did a HIIT class, and I changed all of the names of the moves so that they like sounded spooky. Like we did the time warp, and I called it we did like tombstone presses, doing things. Yeah, it was just fun. Dracula set up, and she's like, can you ever have too much fun? Because I said, oh, we just have too much fun in here. So can you have too much fun? And I said, I don't know, but I'm trying. Because it beats the alternative, right? If you look at a lot of some of the really wonderful, prominent spiritual teachers, like the Dalai Lama, and Desmond Tutu, they laugh and smile and find joy all of the time. And it's not to say that we don't experience these moments of darkness and that we don't have like difficulties in some places, but by choosing to acknowledge that darkness we go through then gets to be offset by the light and the joy, that's where we find really, like, that's where the joy becomes that much more beautiful, right? Like when we find those moments where we get to be silly and goofy and laugh and just have so much appreciation for a beautiful fall day or spring day for those of you on the other side of the earth, that's really where the beauty is. So even when we go through moments of difficulty, and then to understand that it's not going to be like that all the time, we're not going to exist in the darkness, that we do have these times to celebrate and get excited and pet a dog. So let's move into practice. You're going to take index finger and thumb together, starting at the squishy spot at the base of your thumb, brushing outwards towards your temples a few times, and then going from the sides of your nose out to your temples, along your cheekbones, and your temples down to your chin, along your jawline. Madam. And then the sides of your nose down to your chin, along your laugh line. Oh my god. And then take your fingertips and massage underneath and behind your ears, massaging for that soft spot, and then lifting up from the bony spot. Jezebel took my Dharma talk to heart. She's insisted upon finding joy and a belly rub. So if you can lift up a little bit taller from that point, right behind your ears, feeling a little bit more room in between your backbones, and then keeping that lift as you rest your hands down comfortably into your lap. Take a few deep breaths. You can close your eyes if it feels comfy to you. be thinking of a few things that bring you joy. And then take a nice big breath in through your nose. Big exhale through your mouth. Again, like that. We'll let loose 3 ohms together. You can howl or let out a doom growl if you want to. Deep breath in. And start to open your eyes, and you're going to change your seat just a little bit so the soles of your feet are together and your knees are out wide. And try to have your feet a little bit further in front of you than you might usually in this pose. You just might have a little bit more room to move around the spine, which is what we're going to do. Take a big breath in, lift your arms up. And as you exhale, you're going to twist over towards your right and use your hands to support you. Try not to lean back, try to stay upright. And on your exhale, soften your belly. On your next inhale, come back to center, lift your arms up. And then as you exhale, twist over towards your left. And to think of lifting up from that spot behind the ears with the inhales and then letting the belly get squishy so maybe you have a little bit more room to twist on your exhale. And take an inhale, come back to the center. And exhale, fold forward. So you're going to bring your hands down and start to rest your heart a little bit further forward. Still fairly fresh in the practice, so just letting these stretches start to open up slowly. Let out another exhale, let your body soften. And then lift on up, take an inhale. Exhale, pull your elbows out to the side so you get a little bit of chest stretch. And then inhale, lift it up again. We're going to twist over towards the right. Exhale. Move a little bit faster now. Stay here, inhale. Stay here, exhale. And then lift the arms up. Inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, twisting over towards your left. So we'll stay here for a full round of breath. Exhale. And then come back to the center. Inhale. Exhale, hands come forward. And your body starts to come forward. Stay there for a full round of breath. Through your exhale where you soften. And inhale, lift the arms back up. Exhale, pull the elbows out to the side. And then inhale, lift your arms up again. Exhale, twist over towards your right. Stay there, breathe in. Stay there, breathe out. Inhale back to the center, lift your arms up. Exhale, twist to your left. Stay there, breathe in. Stay there, breathe out. And then inhale, lift your arms up. And then go ahead and bring your hands and your heart and as much of your body as you can forward and stay there through another full round of breath. Softening into your exhale. And inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, pull the elbows back, maybe just a little bit more than you did last time. And then inhale, lift it up. Exhale, twisting over towards your right. Stay there, breathe in. Stay there, breathe out. And then come back to the center, inhale. Exhale, twist over towards the left. Lift up from behind your ears. And then let your belly get a little squishier. And come back to the center, lift your arms up. Bring your hands forward, start to lean forward and come into this fold. Take a nice big breath in. Soften into the fold a bit more as you exhale. And inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, pull those elbows wide and back as much as you can. Let's go one more time through. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, twisting towards your right. Inhale. Exhale. Back to the center. Breathe in. Breathing out as you twist over towards your left. Maybe broadening your collarbones a little bit. And then on your next breath in, come back to the center. Bring your hands forward. Maybe now you scoot your feet a little bit closer to you if you've got a little bit more space. And then see if you can bring your heart a little bit further forward. It's just going to feel a little bit different in the hips to bring the feet a little closer. One more breath out. And start to lift yourself up. Take your arms up, nice and tall. And then bring the hands all the way back behind you. Let your fingertips rest on the floor. And then go ahead and lift that chest up a little bit more. Maybe you look upwards. One more breath in. And then exhale, relax it. We're gonna start to come onto our hands and knees here. I mentioned before, if you wanted to have yoga blocks around, I would recommend putting them at the front of your mat space, whatever that is, because that is where you are likely to need it when I forget to tell you about it later. So having your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips, we'll just take a few cat and cow. Inhale, look up, and then exhale, round your spine, tuck the tail. Going like this, just a couple of rounds to get your spine a little warmer. One more big breath in. Exhale, round that spine, and then inhale, come back to the center. You're gonna bring your hands one handprint further forward. Bring your heart up above your thumbs. Try to keep your elbows in close to you, so not letting them fly out, but bringing them back into your ribs. And then as slowly as you want to, you're gonna lower down onto your belly. And then once you get there, wiggle the legs back a little bit more, longer on the belly. And then take your left arm out by your left shoulder, palm facing down. Look over to your right, let your head rest, right leg back, so that you're getting a big stretch. Full big contortion.
I'm losing you on audio. We're losing you on audio. You're cutting in and out.
Oh dear. Okay. Is it better here or worse?
Better
here. Okay. Awesome. Good. I think I know what I did. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. One more exhale. And then start to move to the other side. So you're going to take your left hand in, slide your right leg out, and then right arm out. And then you're going to rest your head down, but I'm not, because apparently that makes the mic go out. Just roll that left leg back. One more breath out. And then rolling back onto your belly, go ahead and bring your hands in just behind your shoulders, pin those elbows back, pick your belly and your hips up off of the floor, and then push the rest of you up off of the floor, or your chest up off of the floor. And then we'll walk it back and find table pose again. And move through a few more cat and cow, or if you're feeling like some side to side action would be nice, going in that direction, just moving around that spine a little bit more. And then finish out that movement. Come back to the center. You're going to take your right arm and thread it underneath or right behind your left hand, and then come to rest on your shoulder here. You want to come up onto left fingertips. I kind of like how that feels with the elbow up and stretching the back of that right shoulder. One more exhale. And then put the left hand back down. Unwind the right hand, and then slide that left arm underneath, resting on your shoulder, resting on your head, maybe coming up onto your fingertips. Softening your belly when you breathe out since we're twisting. And then plant the right hand back down. Go ahead and unwind your left hand, and then we're gonna walk the hands, another handprint forward, and then lean your heart forward above your thumbs. And then as slowly as you want to, lower it down onto your belly. And then come onto the tops of your feet, reach your arms back behind you. Maybe you hold hands with yourself, and then pull the knuckles back to your feet, lift your chest up, and if you want to, you can also lift the legs. Let the chest stretch open, reaching the knuckles back to your toes. Take one more big breath in. And then exhale, release it. Take your hands back underneath your shoulders or just behind the shoulders. Pin the elbows in, lift your belly, and then push your heart up off the floor. And then we'll come back onto this hands and knees space. You're gonna take your right foot and bring it outside of your right hand. And if it only got here, then you grab it and you manually adjust up there. And you can stay here, you can put blocks underneath your hands, or if you're feeling a little spicier, you can lift the back knee up off of the ground. And if that was a bad idea, just put the knee back down. Just having some options, some variations in practice today. You pick and choose whatever seems like a good fit for you right now. Maybe you start to lift your chest up and forward a little bit. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then lower your left knee down if you had it lifted. You're going to leave the left hand down and reach the right arm up. As you reach the right arm up, make sure you're lifting your heart up to those fingertips. You can look up to the hand if you like. Push down into your right foot. Get a little bit more hip action that way. One more breath out. And then put your right hand back down on the inside of your right foot. And you're going to keep pushing down in the right foot. That's going to help to keep you steady. And then you're going to come up onto left fingertips and look over to the left. And if this is already a huge stretch and maybe you decide to return here, but maybe if you've got a little space, you try to open the left arm and do things a little bit weirdly. Just a little bit deeper into that right hip. One more breath out. And then bring your hand down. Now you've got your right foot outside of your right hand. You're going to bring your left foot up outside of your left hand. Ooh. And then sit back in a squat. And it could be here, or you could drop your hips all the way down. And you're just going to go to whatever depth your knees and your hips are okay with. Letting it be your squat, not worrying too much about what it might be, just what it is. One more exhale. And then you're going to take your right foot and you're going to bring it back and lower your knee down, and then you've got that lunge on the other side. So you can leave the knee down, or you can lift that back knee up. And I've got my arms inside of my legs, so I've got just a little bit more room to get the hands down, and they could be on blocks if that's feeling better in your hips and letting you breathe a little bit easier. One more exhale. And if you had the back knee up, you're going to set it down. Leave the right hand down, start to take the left arm open into a twist. And there's like the drop down hip variation, or there's the strong hip variation where I'm pushing into the foot, getting just a little bit more heat, more sensation there. One more exhale. And then take your left hand down on the inside of your left foot. You're going to keep pushing down to that left foot, because if you don't, then the hips go all weird. So if you push into the foot, the hips stay a little more steady. And then you might take that right arm open. Still trying to breathe, even in very strange spaces. One more exhale. And then take your hands down. And you're gonna bring the right foot outside of the right hand. So we're gonna come back into that squat. And maybe it gets a little bit lower this time, maybe it doesn't. I'm just gonna kind of hang out here for a moment. And then moving, if you're in the really, really low squat, when you move from the squat to standing, I find if I lift my heels a little bit, it helps. Just kind of keeping that in mind. We're gonna take the hands down, and then we're gonna lift up into a fold. And you can leave your feet exactly how they are, because we're gonna start going in between a squat and a fold, just moving with the breath. So for many of us, for our knees, this is gonna look like just the hips coming back as you inhale, and then exhale, straight-ishing the legs. And then this is all that you're doing. You're just going inhale, lift the heart up, the hips down, exhale, drop the head down, the hips up. This might look a little bit more like coming down all the way, inhale, and then exhale, standing up on those legs. And we'll take about 3 more. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, heart lifts up. Exhale. I'm pretty sure this is the last one. You can decide that I'm wrong and do less or more. And then you're gonna move your feet so that they're more in line with your hips here. Bend your knees a little bit more perhaps to let your belly soften towards your thighs. Maybe shake your brains out a little bit just in case the neck is tense. And then bring your hands to your hips, lift your belly, lift yourself all the way up. And bring your feet together so that they touch. You've got the big toes together. Squeezing your inner thighs up and forward to help open the fronts of the hips, and then reach your arms up and make steeple fingers or Charlie's Angels mudra. See if you can get a little bit taller as you breathe in, and then exhale, side bend over towards your right. Inhale, center, exhale, side bend over towards the left. Inhale to the center, exhale to the right, maybe push more into your left foot. Inhale to the center, exhale, a little bit more over towards the left, push into your right foot. One more time, inhale, center, exhale to the right. Inhale, center, exhale to the left. And then inhale to the center, go ahead and release your arms down. We're gonna pull the hips down and back into a chair. Got my legs together still. Even if you usually are with the feet a little bit apart, try it with the legs together. You're going to be able to get a little bit better, a little bit easier into this twist if you are that way. So you might take your left hand to your right knee, or you could take your left elbow to your right knee, and you can leave your right hand at your hip, or you can take palms on top of each other. So always lots of options depending on how your twistiness is going today. Now you can make whatever transitions you like between these poses. I'm going to suggest that you try to go directly from this twisting chair to a twisting lunge. You might decide to stand up and reposition your body and then meet us in a twisting lunge. Or maybe you take your left heel up and then in 1 or 72 scooches, take your left foot to the back of the mat. Oh, that was smooth. All right. How'd we do? Vaguely smooth? Does it matter? Not really. And soften your belly, see if you can twist just a little bit deeper. Lift the inner thigh on that back leg. The back leg is powerful too. One more exhale. And then unwind it up into warrior 2. We're gonna straighten the front leg, shift the hips back, and come into triangle pose. You've got straight legs, and you might be all the way up here, or you might be down further. You might have a block underneath your hands. Ears away from your shoulders. Big breath in here. Big breath out. And then you're gonna lift yourself up. Go ahead and step your left foot up to meet your right. Wiggle your feet a little closer together. I'm gonna bend into the knees, put the hips back, come into that chair pose. Hips back, ears out and forward. And then either take your hand or your elbow, maybe hands the heart, and then try to twist a little bit more. If you've got one knee scooching out in front, which many of us will because that happens, we want to push strong into both feet, and that'll usually help to keep those knees in line so you're not having one wonky knee. And making whatever transition you like. It can be a really messy one where you fall over. Why not? Falling over can be very fun. It also helps the body to understand what not to do. Ooh, there we go. Okay, less smooth that time. So you got the right foot back into your twisting lunge. Lift that back thigh. Yep. One more exhale. And then unwinding it out into warrior two. We'll straighten the front leg, shift those hips back, and then come forward into triangle. Let your top shoulder lift up. So even if the arm is maybe like here, because that's only the amount that your shoulder opens, try not to have your hand just floating back behind your shoulder. One more exhale. And then draw your belly in, lift yourself up. You're gonna take that right foot up and step it up by your left. Come up to the front of your mat. Okay. We're gonna go into standing, oh, no we're not. Are we? Yes, we're going into sitting splits. I'm like, which way are we going? We're going this way. So you're gonna stand on your right foot, take your hands down, and then you're gonna take your left leg and lift it up. Now, standing splits is really some work for the standing leg. It's not about trying to get this leg up to the ceiling. I mean, you could work on that if that brings you joy, but if that doesn't bring you joy and that stresses you out, then you're going to worry more or concern yourself more with trying to bring your torso as close to your thigh as you can, so you're getting some good hammy work right here. Maybe shake your brains out a little bit just to be sure you're not holding unnecessary tension in your neck. Good. One more exhale. And then set your left foot down. Bring your fingertips to your shins. Roll your shoulders back from halfway up. Just a little bit more room in the spine. Big breath in. Exhale. Soften back down. You're going to move the weight into your left foot and lift that right leg up. And so if you get the leg all the way up towards the ceiling, great, fine. But maybe think a little bit more about bringing your body in by your standing legs so that you're getting a little bit more of that good hammy action. And checking with the neck muscles and the brain shaking. One more breath out. And set the feet down, forward fold. I'm going to bend a little bit more into the left leg. So your right leg is a little bit straighter, and then take your right arm open into a twist. A sassy hip twist where we release that outer hip. One more exhale. And switch sides. And bend more into the right leg. Take the left arm up. One more exhale. And then fold down, soften your knees, and start to bring yourself back up to standing. We are going to take a standing balance, and when we do this standing balance, we're going to try not to let the hips fold. So even if you have to bend that knee a little bit, try to lift out of this place, right? Because like there's here, and then there's lifted and strong right in here. So you're going to keep lifted and strong there as best you can. Go ahead and hold onto your right leg. And if you're feeling good about being lifted there, you might take your arm up. And then try looking somewhere else other than where you're currently looking. Let that challenge you. So I'm going to look over the side here. And then look back to the front. Go ahead and release your arm and release your leg. So it's easy when we get up there to like grab the leg and then like start to sit back. And you try to get up and forward a little bit more. Hold on to the left leg. Woo! This is the side I fall over on apparently. There's always one, at least one. Might lift this arm or lifting up and forward in that hip. And then look somewhere else. Up is always an interesting challenge. Yep. Go ahead and set your foot down, wiggle things out a little bit. We're gonna go wide legs now, so really wide in those legs. Let all the toes face forward, and then come down into a fold. Go ahead and bring your hands down underneath your shoulders. So we're gonna keep the spine long. You're gonna keep the hands down underneath your shoulders. You're gonna leave your left hand down, take your right arm open into a twist. And then if your hips went weird, see if you can pull both of them back so your hips are a little bit more steady. In fact, take this top hand, bring it onto your back. If it feels like your hips are kind of weird, then you're gonna bring them back to that nice flat space, and then open up your right arm again. Go ahead and set it back down. So let's go first, taking the left hand right to the small of the back. So okay, that's flat. See what happens when I twist. Cool, maybe the arm goes up. And then go ahead and take that hand down. Now we're gonna move slowly. The slower you go, the more ab engagement you get. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, come back down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, down. So the more you have to have control over slow movement, the more we're working that strength capacity in the center. Keep going. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. Especially the lower. The slower you go on the lower, it seems to really work it. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. One more time each side. Maybe a little bend in your knees. You're going to bring yourself up to standing. I'm going to turn the heels in a little bit, just a little bit. So the toes are more out kind of to the corners. And then you're going to bend into your right leg, but take your hips back. Notice I'm not going over to that side. I'm taking the hips back. Push strong into this foot. And really warm up these outer thighs. And then if you had your shoulders up in your ears, relax those back. Exhale. And stand on up. You're going to bend into your left leg, sending the hips back, not the knee over, but the hips go back. And maybe relax your collarbones a little bit more open. And then stand on up. And then we're going to do that again. You're going to bend into your right leg, sit your hips back. You might be able to get your hands down to the floor. You might get your hips even lower. That is another option. But even just having your hands down on the floor is going to get way more intense. You're going to push strong into that right foot. And then come back to the center. You're going to bend into your left leg. You stay here. Stay here. If this is working for you, this is working for you, it's great. You might take your hands down. You might take your hips lower. You might just leave the hips more up in line with your knee, but you got to push down strong into that left foot. One more exhale. And then come all the way back up. And then we're going to turn the toes. They're all the way over towards the right. So right toes all the way to the right, left toes in a little bit. Bend into your right knee, take your elbow down, and take your top arm up. We have a tendency where the hips want to go back there. We're going to try to keep the hips right underneath us and keep that knee over the ankle. We're going to start to layer stuff on here. You might decide that you would like to stop adding things on, or that an add-on wasn't a good fit, and just go back to where it did feel okay. You're going to take your lifted hand, you're going to bring that into the small of your back, and then gently press so you can open that top shoulder. And you might stay here, or you can take this hand and bring it down to a block or to the floor. Maybe you look underneath and you try to hold your butt with this hand. Maybe both hands find each other. Maybe they don't. This is a little experiment, little option for you. And then if you had the bind, release it. Go ahead and lift yourself all the way up. And we're going to switch the feet, taking them over towards the other side. So we're going to go into side angle and then add a half bind or a full bind. And starting here, feeling the chest opening up. This is a good place to check, like, is my shoulder forward and my arm just up there on its own, or am I lifting the chest up? And then you'll really know when you take the hand into your back, you'll feel more of that shoulder opening. Good. One more exhale. Maybe you take the hand down. And then this one's requiring a little bit more strength and chutzpah. You might just grab your butt. Yeah, or you could take your hands back and hold onto your hands. Ugh. It's your butt, you can grab it. One more exhale. Once you had the bind, release it. We're gonna come and stand up. Turn all 10 toes to face forward again. This time when we come into a fold, just make it nice and sweet and gushy for yourself. So you can take your hands down, you can walk your hands in, hold on to your legs, whatever variation feels really good. Maybe shake out your brains again. One more exhale. And then wiggle your feet a little bit closer. And you're gonna sit down into a squat again. Ooh, I have to do a lot of foot adjustment wiggling there, yeah. Maybe hands are at your heart. Maybe you're still doing this, hip in line with your knee situation. Stay where it makes sense for you. One more exhale. And then come on down, have a seat. If crisscross applesauce feels good to you or feet together feel good to you, that's great. If you would like to maybe sit in hero's pose or up on your heels, you could do that too. So any of these are totally fine. We're just gonna work in the shoulders a little bit for a moment. So taking your right hand down, lift your left arm up. Let that shoulder come forward slightly. Good. One more exhale. And then come on up. And leave your left hand down, take the right arm up and just gently forward. So creating this side bend without having the shoulder jammed into the spine. Just a little bit more space between those bones. Giving your skeleton some room to expand. Not be bound up and brittle. One more breath out. And then come on up. So we're gonna cross the arms, just take one on top and then you can hug your shoulders, just like superhero V, or wrap up your eagle arms and then draw those elbows down and forward. So you're gonna press the elbows together and press them down and forward. And even gently release your right ear towards your right shoulder, your chin down a little bit more. And gently lift the head up, left ear to the left shoulder. Check that you might be able to bring your chin down just a little bit more. And lift your head up. Go ahead and unwind your arms. Take the fingertips back behind you. And you're going to have your hands on your hips if reaching the ground is hard. Just going to let the elbows go back, the shoulders go back, the heart go forward. And exhale, come back to neutral. You're going to take the other arm on top. So you can make the superhero V, press your elbows down and forward, hold your shoulders, or wrap up your hands. And gently, right ear to right shoulder, chin down slightly. And lifting your head up, and then left ear to left shoulder. Chin down just ever so slightly. And then lifting your head up, taking your hands now into your back again or onto the floor, and then letting your heart lift up, shoulders roll back, and a little bit more heart opening this time, a little bit more room maybe. And then exhale, relax it. So if you've been sitting up on your legs, You're gonna come off of them. If you've had the legs folded up, you're gonna reach them out in front of you. And then leave your right leg out. Take your left leg and tuck it in however much feels good to you. You might have to like adjust your flesh here so you've got just a little bit more room underneath your bum. You can come forward over your right leg. Draw the body in. Letting your belly soften, letting your lower back soften. One more breath out. And then coming up, I'm gonna lift this knee up. You can leave it here or you can cross it over. We're gonna hug onto the thigh. Let the left arm come in close. You're twisting up nice and tall on the spine. One more exhale. And then just take a little twist over towards the right. And then come back to the center. I'm going to take this leg out again and then come forward into a fold again. See if it feels any different. It might not. Checking it out. And lifting up. Then switching sides. You can take your left leg out, bring your right leg in. Always doing some flesh adjusting here, just so the bum is kind of supporting you and not all underneath you. And then come forward into this fold. One more breath out. And coming back up. I'm going to take this knee up. You leave it here or cross it over and go into a twist. Over the top leg. Use the hands to support you. Lift the spine up tall. One more exhale. Release that twist. Just a little short twist over to the other side. And then release the twist, bring that leg back on the inside, or the foot back on the inside of the leg, and then come forward, see if that fold feels a little different. One more breath out. And then coming back up. I'm going to swing the legs back behind you. We're going to come up, hands and knees, but knees a little bit wider. I'm going to bring the hips back into child's pose. Go ahead and let your forehead come down, maybe shift your hips gently side to side and just hang out here for a couple of breaths. And then bring your hands over to the left side of your mat. So you're just going to take your right hand and bring it over to that left side. You can pull your right hip back a little bit more, feeling some more stretch on the right side of your torso and shoulder and hip. One more breath out. And then release your right hand over to the right edge of your mat. Bring your left hand over to it. Rest your head. Push down a little bit more in that left arm. A little bit more space on that left side. One more exhale. And come back to the center. You're going to lift yourself up, taking your hips above your knees. Maybe to wiggle the knees in a little bit more. And then start crawling the hands forward so that you come out into puppy dog, resting your head down. Now you can stay here with the arms out in front of you, or sometimes it feels nice to bring the palms together and then try to get your thumbs towards the back of your head I like to crawl the elbows out a little bit more when I do this, just giving a little bit more room. Let your tailbone roll up and your heart melt downwards. One more exhale. And release your hands. Go ahead and walk them back in. I'm going to start with the left side, taking the left leg out. I'm going to leave the pinky toe edge of the foot down and start to let the tailbone roll up. And if this feels like a lot, you stay here. You might come down to one or both forearms. I left my eye on the mat here. Forgot I drew on myself. Okay. I look kind of funny. Keep letting your tailbone roll up. Let your heart soften downwards. One more exhale. And coming back up onto your hands. I'm going to bring the left leg in and then send the right leg out by your side. Just same out from the hip, pinky toe edge of the foot down. And then let your tailbone roll up. Maybe you come down to one or both forearms. Maybe your heart rests down a little bit further after you've been here for a few moments. One more exhale. And bringing your hands back in underneath your shoulders. You're going to take both knees down. I'll face you this way. In fact, if you wanted to move out to where you had like plenty of mat underneath you, and if you're feeling like your knees are a little tender, sometimes folding the mat over will give you just a little bit more squish. You can take your knees wider than your hips and then a little bit wider than your hips still. And you want to try to leave your hips in line with your knees so that you're not going too far forward or too far back. My feet are right behind my knees. And then you just go out as wide as you can. And maybe you stay here on your hands and breathe. I think it actually feels a little bit softer to come down onto elbows. Try not to fall into your shoulders. A little bit of pressure into the elbows to stay lifted there. This frog pose can be really intense. We don't do this a lot, honestly, but your inner thighs will get tight and we want to release those. That's what we're doing here. This is either going to become way too intense and you're going to need to back off, or it might start to have a little bit more space and you can go further, and you're going to have, it seems, different responses by the day. Notice where you're holding tension and where you might be able to relax that tension. One more exhale. And then come on up onto your hands. Gently bring those knees in closer. And then you can come back to aligning with your mat, because we're going to come down onto the belly, but propped up on the elbows. Sphinx pose. Feeling your elbows pressed down, your heart lifting up and forward. And then take one hand and fold it in, and then you're going to fold the other arm in front of it. Looks like that's hard to see. Okay. So I'm here, yeah? I'm going to start scooching my elbows in closer. And if there comes a point at which you're like, I'm not getting the elbows any further across, and you hang out here, relax your head down, little pressure into the elbows so I'm not falling down, a little more lifted. You might be able to get the arms out wider or further crossed, if that's a better way to think of it. One more breath out. And it's real awkward. You just kind of wiggle the elbows back in, and then whichever way your arms were crossing the other way, start bringing the elbows closer. See how far they come crossed. Try to relax the back of your neck. One more breath out. Wiggle the elbows in, and back out to the center, and then we're gonna go ahead and sit up. Bring your hands in, put your legs out in front of you, and open them out wide. Take, again, flesh and adjust it over there. I'm gonna leave the toes up, and then bring your body out over your right leg. You are twisting here, so let your belly soften so that you can keep turning the heart down towards that thigh. And with the right hand on the inside of the right leg, you're going to take the heart and open it up to come into this little bit more open space, and then stay open. Take that arm up and over your nose. If your hips started to lift up, resting it back down. One more exhale. And turning back down to face into that leg. Come into the fold again. Maybe you feel like you got a little bit further, or it just feels a little bit more relaxed now after that side bend. Maybe. One more exhale. And then walking it in. Whew, so longer on this side. We're gonna go into a fold over the left leg now. And if your hips started to follow you, like mine definitely did, see if you can relax it back down, even if that means that you're not quite as far folded over. It's not about what we get to, it's about how it feels. Being with what is rather than what isn't. Like, being with what isn't is like the root of most of our suffering. Like wanting things to be different than what they are, rather than if we can just find some way to be joyful, happy with the way that it is, even if only the fact that it's going to be temporary, if that's the place you find joy. One more exhale. And left hand inside, take your heart open towards that top arm. And staying open as you reach that arm up and over. Try to get your ears out of your shoulders. Releasing your right hip down. One more breath out. And then turning over towards that leg again, just seeing if it feels any different. One more exhale. And then prop yourself up. We're going to come to face forward. You can take hands behind you to support the seat, or start to take it forward into a fold. Come out as far as you like. keep thinking, relaxing in those inner thighs, letting the lower back get wider and more relaxed. Over time, you might have a little bit more room to go further. You might just feel a little bit better where you're at and not feel any desire to change your position. That's also very much okay. About 2 more breaths. And start to gently walk yourself back in, lift yourself up, and then bring your legs in closer towards each other. Hold a hand onto your thigh, a hand behind you. Let's lift and take a small twist, just a little one. And then twist the other way. I'm doing a little prep twist for a bigger twist. Come back to center. So take your, you can leave your left leg in front of you and just take your right leg and cross it over, or you can fold the left leg in and just try not to sit on your heel. And if it feels weird, like your hips are uneven, then take that bottom leg and twist it out. I'm gonna hold on to the thigh. Right hand in behind you, lift up, and then twist over this leg. Keep release in this hip down. You might take the arm and bring it in front. Warning, this next move might cause you to round into your spine, and if it does, then you're gonna leave the hand, you're gonna bring the hand back onto the floor. What you might do is take this hand behind your back, and then I gently press into the lower back. You see how the shoulder opens up more? And then I have to remind my belly to soften and relax into it. One more exhale. Release this hand. Release this arm. Unwind your leg. And then it's going to be the left leg crossing over. Maybe the right foot tucking in. And then I'm going to hug this thigh, use the left hand for support, lift up, and soften the belly, twisting. And what you might do is press the right arm against the left leg to get a little bit deeper into that twist, still lifting up tall in the spine. Either leaving the left hand down or taking it into the small of your back. Soften your belly. One more exhale. And then release and unwind that twist. Unwind your legs. Bring the soles of your feet down in front of you. Your hands go back. Let the fingertips face forward and the elbows draw back. And you can stay here with your hips on the floor, pushing your chest up, or you can push your hips up into the air, coming up full into altar pose. Chest lifting, big stretch to the front of the shoulders. Let the head be on the spine or fall back if that feels okay to you. One more inhale. And then release the hips down. You're going to come down onto your back, and if there's something you're going to want near you for Shavasana, go ahead and grab it on the way. And then once you come down here, snuggle your shoulders under your back. Maybe you can use your fingertips to tap the outsides of your heels and check that they're in line with your hips and that the toes are facing forward and that they're nice and close to you. And then we're going to push down into the feet, lift the hips up, and maybe snuggle the shoulders in closer. Maybe fold hands under the back, coming into bridge pose. Push into the feet, feel the hips lift up. One more inhale. Relax the shoulders, let the hips come down. I'm going to go up one more time. The bridge pose, push into your feet, wiggle the shoulders in again. Make sure you're using all of the feet to press down. Letting the rib cage expand in the front, really opening up that chest space. Big breath in. Exhale, shoulders soften, hips release. And widen your feet a little bit more. Take your arms back behind you or hold onto your elbows. It's up to you. We're going to lift the toes up to the shins so we keep the feet flexed. And then both knees go over towards the right. You'll notice my knees are not together. I've got a little bit more stretch to the front of this left leg, the one that's kind of up in the air, reaching that knee away from the rest of the body. And then try to relax your inner armpits, especially if you're holding elbows. One more breath out. And coming back to the center and then letting both knees go over to the right side or the left side. And now it's the right leg that's more lifted and it's reaching away from you. Hi, Jessica. Softening your inner armpits. One more breath out. Back to the center. Let your knees knock against each other and bring your arms in down by your sides. Just a couple of breaths, letting the lower back relax. No, thank you. And then bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug. Maybe rock around a little bit. Knees a little bit wider. Reach up and grab for your feet. Happy baby. On your next exhale, see if you can relax around your hips a little bit more. And then release the feet, bring the legs back together, and then take both of them over towards the right and open the arms if that feels good to you. A little more close in twist. Breathing out, and then moving the knees over towards the other side, shifting in the other direction. Let that belly soften. Let the belly rest back towards the spine. One more exhale. And then coming back to the center, set your feet down. Bring your arms in by your sides. Let your palms face up. And give a little snuggle of the shoulder blades together underneath the heart, just enough that your chest feels a bit more open. And as we move into our final resting space, you might decide to take a seated meditation or sit against the wall or legs up the wall. Maybe you leave the knees bent. Maybe you slide the feet out, letting the legs be long, resting in corpse pose. And we have this time at the end of our practice, this corpse pose. It's where we are in this stillness, just kind of letting all of the energy, the endorphins, everything that's been building up while we've been moving, letting it settle back down like a snow globe that's been shaken up. letting things settle again so that we're clear and ready for the next shakeup, essentially. Finding that balance, letting this be darkness, letting it be soothing, restorative. Rest very well. Start to bring yourself back to your breath, back to your body. Let all of the snow in your globe stay as settled as you can, but if you have the desire to make some small movements just to slowly wake yourself up, go for it. And start rolling yourself over to one side, drawing yourself inward for a moment of gratitude for practice, for getting yourself onto your mat, for having the ability to share together even across these distances. And then coming up when you're ready into your own version of a comfortable seat. Hands gathered at your heart. We'll seal practice by releasing one Om together. Big breath in. Bowing down to honor the light and the darkness that is within each of our hearts. Namaste. Thanks for being here, friends. You finally made it. Have a wonderful days. Let me know if you have any questions about anything or if you need to reach out about anything. Yeah. Happy Halloween.
April, what was the playlist you used today?
The playlist is, I can put the link in here. I need to make better posts about playlists. Here it is. There, copy link. Yeah. There's the link to the playlist.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
And my costume is yesterday, rainbow.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right.